Before the first sunrise, before the first ocean, before anything you can name or touch or stand on, something had to die. That is the starting point for an unsettling number of creation myths from across the ancient world. Not a gentle shaping of clay, not a divine word spoken into silence. Something enormous, something that was everything, had to be broken apart before the world could exist inside the pieces. A question worth asking is why? Why did so many separate cultures, with no knowledge of each other, arrive at the same answer? That creation requires destruction. That existence is built on something that had to end. The stories that follow are 5 different answers. They are also, underneath everything, the same answer told 5 different ways. Tiamat, Babylonian mythology. The oldest written creation story on earth begins with a murder. Tiamat was the primordial salt sea, vast and formless, the mother of all gods. She and her partner Apsu, the fresh water, were so intermingled at the beginning of time that nothing else could exist. When younger gods were born from their union and grew loud and unruly, Apsu decided to kill them. The gods killed him first. Tiamat, grief-stricken and furious, assembled an army of monsters and went to war. The gods turned to Marduk, the youngest and most powerful among them. He agreed to fight on one condition. If he won, he would be king of everything forever. They agreed. Marduk and Tiamat met on the field of creation, and he killed her with a spear through the heart. Then he got to work. He split her body in half. The upper half became the sky, stretched out above the earth and held in place. The lower half became the ground beneath every human foot that has ever walked on it. Her eyes became the sources of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Her tail became the Milky Way. Every year at the Babylonian New Year festival, priests reenacted this myth in public ceremony. The defeat of chaos to create order was not a story they kept in a book. It was a live performance that reset the cosmic calendar. The world had to be remade annually from the same act of violence that made it the first time. Ymir, Norse mythology. Ymir came into being in the void between fire and ice, the first living creature, a frost giant whose body sweated other giants into existence while he slept. He was sustained by a cosmic cow named Audhumla, who licked salt blocks and eventually revealed Buri, the first god, from the ice. Buri's grandsons were Odin, Vili, and Ve. They looked at Ymir and decided the universe needed redecorating. They killed him. The blood that poured from his body was so vast that it drowned almost every other giant alive. Odin and his brothers then carried what remained to the center of the void and built the world from it. His flesh became the earth. His bones became mountains. His teeth and shattered bones became rocks and stones. His blood became the oceans and rivers. His skull, held up by 4 dwarves standing at the corners of creation, became the sky. His brains became the clouds. The ancient Norse text is precise and practical about all of this in a way that is slightly difficult to process. The world is not created for nothing. It is assembled from a body, piece by piece, the way you might build something from materials you had on hand, because those were the only materials available. There was no other option. Everything required Ymir's death first. Purisha, Vedic sacred tradition. The Purusha Sukta is the 90th hymn of the Rig Veda, one of the oldest sacred texts in the Hindu tradition, and it describes a creation that is simultaneously sacrifice and gift. Purusha was the cosmic being, vast beyond reckoning, with 1,000 heads and 1,000 eyes and 1,000 feet, encompassing all of existence and overflowing beyond it. The gods gathered him and prepared him as an offering. They sacrificed him to himself. He was both the victim and the deity to whom the sacrifice was dedicated. A theological paradox the ancient text states without apology and leaves the reader to sit with. From his mind came the moon, from his eye the sun, from his breath the wind, from his navel the sky, from his feet the earth. The four divisions of ancient Vedic society emerge from his body simultaneously, each class arising from a different part of him, making the social order itself a product of the same act of creation as the physical world. This tradition remains alive in Hindu practice today. The Puresha Sukta is recited in temple ceremonies and household rituals. The sacrifice that built the universe is not a story from a closed past. It is reenacted in the present as an acknowledgement that existence itself is built on something that gave itself completely. Pangu, Chinese mythology. Pangu slept inside a cosmic egg for 18,000 years. When he awoke, he shattered the egg and pushed the two halves apart with his bare hands, holding sky above and earth below as both grew larger around him. He did this for another 18,000 years. Then he died, and the world was finally finished. His breath became the wind and clouds. His voice became thunder. His left eye became the sun, and his right eye the moon. His four limbs became the mountains at the four corners of the world. His blood became the rivers. His muscles became the fertile land. His bones became minerals and stone. His hair became the stars. The parasites living on his body, stirred by the wind, became the people of the world. Pangu is the only figure on this list who did nothing wrong, committed no violence, harmed nothing. He simply lived, held the world apart with his body, and then died, and the death was the creation. The Chinese tradition recorded this without apparent warning. Pangu's purpose was always to become the world. He fulfilled it completely. Rangi and Papa, Maori tradition. In the beginning, the Sky Father Ranginui and the Earth Mother Papakoanuku lay locked together in a permanent embrace. Their children were born into the darkness between them, cramped and lightless, unable to fully exist in the space their parents' love had left for them. The children held a debate. Tumataunda, the fiercest among them, proposed killing their parents. Tani, god of forests, proposed something he considered more merciful: separation. That was the decision they went with. Every god tried in turn and failed. Finally, Tani lay on his back, planted his feet against his father's body, and pushed. The ancient texts describe the tendons that held the parents together tearing, the cries of grief from Rangi and Papa as they were pried apart, the light flooding in for the first time as the sky rose above the earth. Rangi and Papa grieve for each other still. Rangzi's tears are the rain. The mist that rises from the valleys in the early morning is Papa's sighs reaching upward. The world was built inside a wound that never fully healed, and every storm since then has been Tawira Matia, the one sibling who voted against separation, making his siblings pay for what they chose. The Maori did not frame the violence of creation as a triumph. The sky and the earth are two beings in permanent mourning. The world exists in the space between them. Life happens inside their grief. So there are your five. A murder that became the sky and sea. A dismemberment assembled into mountains and oceans. A cosmic sacrifice that gave everything without reservation. A quiet death that became the sun and the rivers and the people. And a separation that the world still weeps over. Every one of these traditions looked at the question of where everything came from, and arrived at the same uncomfortable place. Something had to end so everything else could begin. The world is not built on nothing. It is built on the shattered remains of what was before. That detail does not appear in any of these stories as a warning. It appears as a fact. The ancient storytellers recorded it and moved on, the same way you build a house without spending much time thinking about what the land looked like before it was cleared. Some questions answer themselves by being unavoidable. If you've enjoyed this video and want more, make sure to subscribe. If you have an idea of something we should cover, let us know in the comments.